Hey everyone, welcome to Module 2 of our course, Learn Website Hacking and Penetration Testing from Scratch. In this module, we're talking about something really fundamental. What is a website? How does it work? And why does understanding this matter so much in ethical hacking? Trust me, once you really understand how websites function, breaking them ethically becomes a lot easier. All right, let's keep this simple. A website is just a collection of web pages hosted on a web server and accessed by a browser. So when you type in www.google.com, what's actually happening? Your browser sends a request to a server, and that server responds with a page, like a search box or a YouTube video, that gets displayed in your browser. That whole back and forth communication is what makes websites work. Think of it like ordering food in a restaurant. You, the browser, make a request, the kitchen server prepares it, and the waiter brings it back as a response. Now, every website has two major parts. The front end, that's the stuff you actually see. Text, buttons, forms, images, all built using HTML for structure, CSS for design, JavaScript for interactivity. The back end, that's where the logic lives. This is the server side, where data is processed, stored, and served back. Technologies like PHP, Python, Node.js, databases like MySQL or MongoDB, all of this is backend. And as an ethical hacker, you need to understand both sides because vulnerabilities can exist anywhere. Let's go one step deeper. Let's talk about how websites actually work behind the scenes. 1. You open your browser and type in a website address. 2. The browser sends an HTTP request to the server. 3. The server checks what you asked for, maybe a login page or some data for. It sends back an HTTP response, usually an HTML page 5. Your browser renders that and displays it on screen, SEX. This whole cycle is part of what we call the client-server model. The browser is the client, the web app lives on the server, and every time you open a web page, you're creating that communication. Let's also understand the difference between two types of websites. Static websites. These are simple pages. What you see is exactly what's coded. Nothing changes unless the developer updates the file, like a basic portfolio site. Dynamic websites interact with users. They fetch data from a server, process it, and show different results, like your social media feed, shopping carts, or dashboards. And here's the key. Most hacks happen on dynamic websites because that's where user input meets server logic. That's where things can go wrong. So why are we even learning this? Because ethical hacking, especially website hacking, starts with understanding how web apps actually work. If you don't understand where data is stored, how it travels, what the client can access, and how the backend processes input, then you won't know where to look for vulnerabilities. Knowing the basics of websites helps you think like both the developer and the hacker, and that's exactly the mindset you need. Let's quickly recap. A website is a collection of pages stored on a server. The front end is what users see. The back end is what runs behind the scenes. HTTP requests and responses make it all work. Static sites are simple. Dynamic sites are interactive and risky if built poorly. And understanding this is your first real step into web hacking. All right, that wraps up the website basics part of our journey. In the next part of Module 2, we'll start talking about how websites are actually hacked. Real techniques, real logic, and real tools. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's keep going. This is Parth from Secure 7. Stay ethical, stay curious. I'll see you in the next lesson.